Hi, welcome to Street Priest Ministries. I'm your host, Brother Jay, as we're taking the Gospels back to the streets. Today's drive-through message is the Jubilees. So I want you to turn in your Bibles to Leviticus 25:9. But before we go there, discuss the word Jubilee and what it means. The word comes from the word teruah in Hebrew. It means acclamation of joy or a battle cry. Clangor of trumpets, alarms, ringing, a joyful loud noise. The Bible says make a joyful noise unto the Lord. Rejoicing, shouting, a high sound. The other word for Jubilee in the Hebrew is yobel, a blast of silver trumpets. Now the Jubilee means 50th. Every 50 years they had a Jubilee, or the 49th year, and a year of Jubilees. It was a culmination of all the Sabbaths, 7 Sabbaths. 7 times 7 is 49. And on that 49th Sabbath, that year following made 50 years, the land was supposed to rest. And it was supposed to be joy, and praise, and festivities. And this book right here, I'm going to start teaching on. I done taught on the book of Enoch. I touched lightly on the book of Jasher, but I'm going to get around to some of these books that are mentioned in the Bible that was originally in the Bible, that was taken out by certain scholars. But these books are biblical, and they can be found quoted in the Bible. But this book here, the book of Jubilees, I'm going to teach on this book real soon. Don't tie me to a date, but I'm going to start on it. I want to teach on the book of God. Jubilees also. God deals in ages. This clock is not our clock. But you can best believe God's dealing with 50 years, 500 years. Now what sparked this, believe it or not, this message that you're watching right now, this message right here, right now, this one, right here, is the 500th video, number 500. That's why I said I'm going to do the Jubilee message. 500 is a derivative of 50. 10 times 50 is 500. 10 the number of ordinal perfection. 50 the number of harvest. So I thought this was a celebration, joyful occasion. We reached 500, so why not make it a Jubilee message? It's the way I think. God deals in symbols and numbers as well. Satan is the cosmic copycat. He copies everything God does. He got his people. Got it down to a science with numbers and numerology, and that's all God's got, science. Satan just take it, perverted and corrupted with his people. But God deals in symbols and deals in numbers. He's the author of all this. So turn to Leviticus 25, verse 9. The Jubilee. All right, we're going to learn about the Jubilee. What does it mean? Now, I can tell you this. We're going to get into it when we read the book. But also on these Jubilees, well, you're going to read it. I'm going to read it to you. I'm not going to tell you everything right away because I'm going to teach on the book anyway. And when I teach on the book, I can do a little bit more revelation. And there's a little prophecy involved, and we're going to go over that. I'm going to start getting on some of these other lost books and teach on them too. Prophecies that are being fulfilled in these last days. I'll get on that stuff. I haven't got around. Right now I'm trying to deal with the basics. To rally the troops and get them in line like ducks to march. And that's basically what all of these messages are being. I would love to spend more time teaching on prophetic things, prophetic events, and what's going on. But that's where, right now, we're in the triage stage. And this is what's being performed right now, where we can move on to bigger and better things or deeper things. We're doing a spiritual triage right now. Leviticus 15, verse 9. Make sure. Oh, it's 25, verse 9. I'm sorry. My bad. 25, verse 9. Jubilees. Then shalt thou cause the trumpet of the Jubilee to sound on the 10th day of the 7th month, in the day of atonement. Shall ye make the trumpet sound throughout all your land? Blow the trumpet. Now this is significant because you see a lot of trumpet blowing in Revelation. The 7 trumpets. I taught on Revelation. I did my teaching, the Apocalypse. I taught through the whole book of Revelation. But Jubilee shall the 50th year be unto you, and ye shall not sow. Now this is the 50th Sabbath. This is a year of Sabbath. Now the people didn't listen to God, and what God ended up doing was driving them off the land. He said, since you didn't want to do it, I'm on. So he drove them. He drove them. That was the reason they went to Babylon for 70 years. Represented those 70 jubilees that they didn't keep God's word. God eventually get around to you, and you can obey His laws whether you want to or not. You're gonna go to hell anyway. Disobeying His law. It's gonna be the ultimate place for it. In the lake of fire. God's gonna have His way in the end. He's quiet and ain't saying much because He done said plenty in 66 books. If you open the book, dust it off, and take time to read it, you'll find out He's saying a lot of things about how He is and His laws, His commandments. But Jubilee shall the 50th year be unto you. Ye shall not sow, neither reap that which groweth, or in and of itself. Let it grow wild. Don't get out there and work and till the land. That's what He's telling. Which groweth of itself, nor gather the grapes in it of the vine undressed. For it is a jubilee, it shall be holy unto you. Ye shall eat the increase thereof out of the field in the day of Jubilee. Ye shall return every man unto his possession. And if thou sell, in other words, this is also the year that you get out of debt. Now, God didn't intend for you to suffer and to go through trials and tribulations forever. There's a season, Solomon said, for everything. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to give, a time to get, a time to hate, a time to love. That's for you Christian yippies out there. Time to hate and a time to love. We need to be lovebirds 24/7. The honey drippers 24/7. God has balance. A time to speak and a time to be silent. A lot of you need to learn that. That's Ecclesiastes. Now, there's a time to borrow and a time to not borrow. Time to lend and time to not to lend. Time to get in debt and time to get out of debt. And this is Jubilee, you got out of debt. All debts were wiped out in Jubilee. And you were enslaved to a creditor, or in that case, some the Bible say that the borrower is servant to the lender. You become a slave. If you owe somebody, you got to work off your debt. But your debt was wiped clean during the year of Jubilee. Now we're in debt as a nation. Maybe Maybe God's working right now behind the scenes to get rid of our banksters that we are. Just saying, I never know. What are we, 20 trillion in the hole? Due to fraudulent activity? And if thou art to in thy neighbor buys aught thy neighbor's hand, ye shall not oppress one another. Give me that money you owe. Go choke the neighbor. Give it. Choke the money out of it. According to the number of years after the Jubilee, thou shalt buy of thy neighbor, and according unto thy number of years the fruits ye shall sell unto thee. According to the multitude of years thou shalt increase the price thereof, and according to the fewness of years thou shalt diminish the price of it. For according to the number of years of the fruits doth he sell it unto thee. You shall not therefore oppress one another. No interest at usury. God forbid his people to use interest and usury on one another. He allowed it on other nations for you to charge interest, but not on each other. Because interest is of Babylon. It enslaves. It's called usury in the Bible. It enslaves people. Interest enslaves. You never can get ahead. How many of you are hog-tied now with interest payments on whatever, car or home? Whatever. Ye shall not therefore oppress one another, but thou shalt fear thy God. For I am the Lord your God. Fear. For the hard of hearing, fear. He said you should fear the Lord thy God. That's a problem. There's no fear of God. No. Wherefore ye shall do my statutes, and keep my judgments, and do them, and ye shall dwell in the land safely. If you do what I tell you to do, you should dwell in the land safely, because I'm going to look out for you. And the land shall yield her fruit. I'm going to bless your crops. Your land will produce food. I don't even know if we're producing food anymore. Like, I think we get enough food from everywhere. Mexico, China, I ain't telling. Ain't a lot of farming going on with us anymore. I think most of it has been is being imported. We used to be the #1 export. What happened to that? My uncle had a farm. I told you the story over and over. Growing up, every summer or every other summer, we had to go and work the land. I have a lot of respect for farmers. The old McDonald's out there, I have a lot of respect for. City slicker like myself, learned a lot about country ways. I appreciate hard work. You don't work on a farm. Once that rooster get to crowing, you up and out the door to work. I hated that rooster. I wanted to choke that rooster, as they always seem to be crowing before the sun came up. I can hear it now. And the land shall yield her fruit, and ye shall eat your field, and dwell therein safely. And ye shall say, what shall we eat the 70th year? Behold, we shall not sow, nor gather in our increase. That's how we going to survive without planting anything, God, and going out there working the land? I mean, would you expect us just to eat something wild that's growing? Then I will command my blessing upon you in the 6th year, and it shall bring forth fruit for you for 3 years. God said, I'm going to give you on 6 years enough to carry you through that year. If you save and store up, put in your barns, you'll be okay. And ye shall sow the 8th year, and shall eat of old fruit until the 9th year, until her fruits come, and ye shall eat of the old store. You better know a little bit about dehydration. The land shall not be sold forever, for the land is mine. It's God bossing up. Get my teaching, it's mine. The story of Nabal, it's mine is the video. Well, God's bossing up. It's my earth. It's Satan's counterfeit. He's running around trying to claim it. And he's the little G of this planet right now. But God's the big G. Cattle on 1,000 hills is his. This earth is his, and the fullness there. He made this. And the world's going to find out in the end who the boss is, all the nations. What Revelations is written for. The land shall be sold forever, for the land is mine. For ye are strangers and sojourners with me. And in the land of your possession ye shall grant a redemption for the land. If thy brother be waxen poor, and have sold away some of his possessions, and if any of his kin come to redeem it, then shall ye redeem that which his brother sold. That's what I told you. Christ came to redeem our inheritance that was stolen from us by Satan, the devil, the inheritance of eternal life. We all would have been guaranteed a fast track to hell without Christ coming. Because all of us are sinners. All of us are corrupt. I don't care if it's a Mother Teresa. And a lot of people said they seen her in hell. We can't get there on our own righteousness, our own works. All our righteousness is filthy rags, a bloody tailbone. As Jeremiah said, Jeremiah 17, 9, I think, or 6, 1. All our righteousness is filthy rags. We're on the rag. I don't care what holier, better than you. Brother holier, better than you, or brother better than you, or sister holier than thou. Brother better than you and sister holier than thou say. I don't care what they say. They're corrupt sinners too, even the worst. A lot of them are hypocrites. Wearing a mask, going around with a facade on, making you think their crap don't stink. I almost. It's a good thing I think slow. I almost said the word. Remember, I keep it clean for the kitty's sake. I want this to be family. I can get out like a sailor if I have to. But I don't believe that. If thy brother be waxing poor, and have sold away some of his possessions, and if any man is his kin come to redeem it, then shalt thou redeem that which his brother sold. And if any man have done to redeem it, and himself be able to redeem it, then let him count the years of the sale thereof, and restore the overplus unto the man to whom he sold it, and he shall return unto his possession. And if it be not able to restore it to him, then that which is sold shall remain in the hand of him that hath bought it until the year of Jubilee. And in Jubilee it shall go out, and he shall return unto his possessions. That's what I told you. In the year of Jubilee, you got out of debt, and you was returned what you couldn't pay for, what was taken for, what was repossessed. Say you had a home that was repossessed, and you borrowed, and you couldn't, and the bankster of Israel took over your home. They would have given it back to you in the 50th year of Jubilee. You might have to wait 50 years, but and God did that so his people wouldn't be impoverished. Because you can see how ruthless the banksters are. They'll throw you out your house if you've been paying on the house 70 years. They don't care. You don't pay. You don't make that payment, you're out. The state is snatch your house. You don't pay them taxes, you're out. God didn't intend for man to be a slave. For homes and possessions and material things. You see it, you're reading it for yourself. It's the Jubilee. And that's Satan. Slavery is of the devil. All forms of slavery. Especially debt slavery. Where you got the 1%ers that own over 90% of the earth. So what's up with that? But if he be not able to restore it to him, then that which is sold shall remain in the land of him that hath bought it until the year of Jubilee. And at Jubilee it shall go out, and he shall return unto his possessions. And if a man sell a dwelling house in a walled city, that'll just make me laugh. Here we are, the greatest nation on earth without a wall. And God had his people have walls. Hear my teaching, Pastor Nehemiah, that built the wall? Jerusalem. Did my teacher know that? They had walls back then. That's how you can identify a nation by its border. Especially with walls to keep those out that you don't want in. Make sure you can vet them coming through the front door if they want to be a citizen of this country. If any man sell a dwelling house in a walled city, then he may redeem it within a whole year. After it is sold within a full year, may he redeem it. And if it be not redeemed within the space of a full year, then the house that is in the walled city shall be established. And here you got the guy with the fish hat on. They got, in some sections of his city, 200 feet walls, telling us not to have a wall. The hypocrisy. And if it be not redeemed within the space of a full year, then the house that is in the walled city shall be established forever. They even got walls in heaven. Heaven got walls and gates too. Big gates. Then the house that is in the walled city shall be established forever to him that bought it throughout his generation. It shall not go out in the Jubilee. But the house of the villages which have no wall round about them shall be counted as the fields of the country. They may be redeemed, and they shall go out in the Jubilee. Notwithstanding, the cities of the Levites and the house of the cities of their possessions may the Levites redeem at any time. God said, my ministers don't have to wait, until no year of Jubilee. They can redeem at any time. And if a man purchase of the Levites, then the house that is sold and the house of his possession shall go out in the year of Jubilee. For the houses of the cities of the Levites are their possession among the children of Israel. They wouldn't have owned anything. They was to live off the people. And they was given a city to live in. And now the Levites, or the ministers of the day, take the place of the Levites. The apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, and teachers take the place of the Levites. We're supposed to be able to live on the gospel. The storehouse is where you come to get the food, the spiritual food. And you're supposed to give money, material things, to the one, to testify to the one that taught you God's word. We take the place of the Levites. It don't matter if the Levite was fat, or he looked like he was starving. He was supposed to give if he's the one that fed you God's word. And we take the place today. God hasn't changed. His principles are still the same when it comes to giving. But they were to live off the land. They weren't supposed to work a job. Now I have to work. And this is work too. I paid to sustain most of this. But the Levites were supposed to live off the people. But the field of the suburbs of their cities may not be sold, for it is their perpetual possession. And if thy brother be waxen poor, and fall in decay with thee, then thou shalt relieve him, yea, though he be a stranger or a sojourner, that he may live with thee. Take thou no usury of him, or increase, but fear thy God, that thy brother may live with thee. Don't charge him interest. Give him a hut in the back of your yard to live, his own living quarters. Thou shalt not give him thy money upon earthly, nor lend him the victuals for increase. I am the Lord your God, which brought you forth out of the land of Egypt, to give you the land of Canaan, and to be your God. And if thy brother that dwelleth by thee be waxen poor, and be sold unto thee. Remember I said the debtor is servant to the lender. You go into debt slavery. Be waxen poor and sold unto thee, thou shalt not compel him to serve as a bondservant. Don't make him a mean slave. but as a hired servant, an indentured servant. More dignity there. And as a sojourner, he shall be with thee, and shall serve thee unto the year of Jubilee. The year of Jubilee, his death is wiped out. And then shall he depart from thee, both he and his children with him, and shall return unto his own family, unto the possession of his fathers shall he return. For they are my servants, which I have brought forth out of the land of Egypt. Egypt represented bondage and slavery. And they shall not be sold as bondmen. Thou shalt not rule over him with rigor, but shalt fear thy God. Don't be a taskmaster, cracking the whip over your brothers and your sisters, because they get into debt, and you that are able to lend and help them, and they can't pay you back, turn into an ogre slave master. Both thy bondsmen and thy bondsmaid, which thou shalt have, shall be of the heathen that are round about you. The other ethnic groups. Heathen means ethnos, other than Jew. You call it a heathen, and a pagan in some case. That are round about you, of them shall ye buy bondsmen and bondsmaids. Moreover, of the children of the strangers that do sojourn among you, of them, slavery been around since the fall of Adam. And the biggest slave traders in history, and you can study it for yourself, even in the Bible. They sold Joseph, and the slavery was the Arabics, the Arabs. Been slave traders from the get-go. Peddler of flesh from the get-go. Nothing new about slavery. Man is enslaved. Man since the dawn of time. Each other, their own brothers, sisters, own ethnic groups, nationalities, enslaved one another, enslaved others outside their group. There's nothing new under the sun. And this is around the world. You don't care where you go. Brothers enslaved brothers. That's what he's talking about here. Hebrews enslaving Hebrews. Ain't nothing new under the sun. You go on the walls of Egypt, you see all ethnicities enslaved, including their own. All colors represented on that wall enslaved. All nationalities. There's nothing new under the sun. And God's dealing with it here. Moreover, the children of the strangers that sojourn among you, them shall ye buy, and of their families that are with you, which begat in your land, and they shall be for your possession. Ye shall not take them as an inheritance for your children after you, to inherit them for possession. They shall be your bondsmen. They shall be your bondsmen forever. But over your brethren, the children of Israel, you shall not rule over one another with rigor. And if a sojourner or a stranger wax rich by thee, and thy brother that dwelleth by him wax poor, and sell himself into the stranger or sojourner by thee, or to the stock of thy stranger's family, after that he is sold, he may be redeemed again. One of his brethren may redeem him. Now, this is in the Bible because this is what Christ did. He was our Redeemer. We were sold under the slavery of the law. We were bound by the law. We were debtors to God's law. We owed, and we could never get out of that debt. Christ had to come. He had to be a kinsman. He had to be related to us. That's what the incarnation was about, the virgin birth. He came in the flesh and of God. He had to be born of God. And that's why it had to be the virgin birth, immaculate conception. He had to be God and man. And God gave him his perfection. He conquered the flesh, paid the debt for our sins, died for us, his blood, paid the price. And we're Jubilee. And that's our Jubilee. It was Christ. He got us out of debt with God through his grace. God's grace and his blood can cover our sins. And that's our Jubilee. Now I'm going to start teaching on the book of Jubilees. I'll give you a heads up. Happy Jubilee, the Street Priest Ministry. Like I said, this is our 500 message. 10 times 50 is 500. All right, if I'm the one that taught you, give, especially on Jubilee. Go to streetpriestministry.org, bring your tithes, first fruit, alabaster box. Includes your thieving pastors out there too. Good day, good evening, good night to you. May you go in faith around the world in Jesus' name.